Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order of the Mandan Park District. Today is July 8th, 2024. Additions or deletions to the agenda. I think we just have one bill that we needed to add. Is that correct, Cole?
That is correct. Yep, it's on your agenda. I highlighted under the item 3.
Okay. Any other changes or deletions? Nope. Okay. Public communication from visitors. Right now we have nobody in the audience, so we will close that portion of our meeting. Moving on to minutes, if we can get approval for the June 10th, 2024 regular meeting minutes and the June 27th, 2024 special meeting minutes.
I would move to approve the June 10th, 24 regular meeting and the June 27th, 24 special meeting minutes.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Scott.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Freilich. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, moving, very, very short agenda tonight, so we'll get through it probably quite quickly. We'll start with item number 1. Consider for approval matching grant request. So we have the BMSCA is asking for some fencing, matching grant for some fencing. Cole, do you want to update us on that?
So as we know, Kelly Thomas usually handles this. Unfortunately, she's on maternity leave, so not able to be here tonight. Commissioner Mutter, myself, and the soccer club, along with the racetrack and RC, were involved in a pre-meeting to determine where this fencing would potentially go. So they had made their request. As you know, in the matching grant, it's a 50-50 matching of funds. It has to be done in the same fiscal year. So before you was a request for $2,500 to add on the fencing for the new go-kart track, which will include the RC track. As I mentioned before, all groups involved out there were at the meeting with Commissioner Mutter, myself, and Dustin Fleck to make sure we're in agreement of the alignment of this fence. And so we do have a due recommendation to approve the grant as submitted.
Been a while since this group has asked for money, right? Is that okay? Okay. Questions for Cole or Commissioner Mutter, I guess, and if not, can we entertain a motion?
I do have some questions. So I'd heard that they were looking to fence some of this in, and I know some soccer people had some concerns. Were they discussed, or has that been discussed with them? Or
Yeah, we had 2 representatives at the meeting. I think it's Corey Herman, and then is it Eliak? Is that it? Who's the soccer coach?
Yeah, Elia.
Elia, yep. Both of those were represented there. I think there was, unfortunately, some rumors going around where this fence potentially would be. So we had the Stock Car Association, Herb Bargman, who is a surveyor, surveyed the spots, laid it all out, marked the corners. They were in agreement with it, and they see no issues with it.
So are they going to lose parking with this fence?
So you're going to lose probably where the go-kart track would be. I would say you're going to be redirected to the north more, where there'll be more parking. So they never really parked. We should have a map, I guess, would be easier to explain. But if you take where the community gardens used to be, so that area now is the RC tracks. We're not losing anything there. Directly south of the RC track, I would say you're probably going to lose 25 to 30 cars, but you're going to gain everything to the east of where the community gardens used to be. Sort of that little side road on the north side by those storage units. So when you come from that storage unit south, that was always community gardens. Well, now that'll all be freed up for parking. So the answer to the question is we probably will lose some parking stalls, yes.
Okay, well, I'm a little nervous without seeing a map, to be honest.
And if you don't want to approve the matching grant and make a contingent on a map, we definitely can show it for next month.
Okay.
When was it? What was the time? I'm sorry, Cole. Timeline that they wanted to do this? Was it this year yet?
Well, the board had approved to put the fence up last year after our fall Dakota Centennial Park Advisory Board meeting, and then they just didn't get quite organized. Got busy in the spring with the weather. Didn't get to it with the rain. So that's why we required that meeting with the DCP Advisory Board, and so we met on site. All the boards and the groups that were represented at that space had given us approval. That's why there was no application as far as a map in there for the exact spot. So I can send that out and we can table it for next month if that's what you like.
I think we'll table it for our August meeting just so we can all see what's happening there. And then you said there were two people from the soccer club that were there and kind of they were okay with it, but maybe don't know the whole history either, maybe.
Yep, we had the president of the soccer club, and then we said we're sending representatives that you'd like to attend. So him and I believe, I forget how to pronounce his first name.
Elias Soccerlich.
He
Okay.
attended.
All right, so we'll put that on. We'll put that on our next meeting agenda under old business. Okay, moving into item number 2, construction on project updates. Let's start with the park operations building.
So as you know, park operations, you guys toured that about 2 months ago. We are about 95% complete. We received our occupancy permit today. The only few items that I had listed in the agenda doc when I completed it last week, about 50% of them have been completed. Really, the only thing that's holding us up is the upper level railing. We had to get that switched out from the 2x4 structure that they had, and now we're going to get the steel structure replaced. Some minor outside dirt work has to be leveled, and then the gate on that south end where we're moving the new entrance. And then really what's going to hold us up now is we had 3 weeks ago Midco on site, and now Midco is not able to get us internet to the building until probably mid-August. So we're working with Energy, our IT company, to do what's called a bridge, basically beam it from our existing shop over to the new shop as a temporary to get us internet over there. Hopefully I'll have more answers on that by the end of the week. Then Dustin's probably going to move into his shop sometime in the next 10 days, slowly transition his office and stuff over there and get organized. Not a huge hurry at this time, but we definitely want to be in it before August 1st. And then
Is there key fobs for that?
Yep.
So we'll need internet for those to work,
Correct.
obviously.
And then we
our
have all
whole
of our
system.
equipment and computers that we operate out of time card systems and things. But just to add, as you kind of can see in the financials, as you see the total, grand total where we're sitting at is $3.173 million. We're on budget. There's no overages. Even the overages that we approved as far as change orders, and we used our allowances. So we had $200,000 in the general fund. We had $50,000 mechanical and electrical. And as you know, we redirected all of those funds back towards the parking lot, and that's where all that additional concrete came in. So, but project came in on budget, so that's kind of nice and know that we're able to meet that. And then there's still a little bit of few funds left over that we wanted to hold back. As you know, in any new construction, there's always going to be little things you want to add to the interior and things like a TV and conference room tables and things. So hopefully we'll be into that building here in the next 2 weeks.
Ferris Field update.
Unfortunately, I don't have much more to tell you than what I put in the agenda. I drove down there this morning. They were supposed to start last Sunday. I think the rain that we received on that Sunday, then the Monday, the first, second, impacted some of the installation as far as the irrigation. I drove down there this morning. A lot of the fabric hasn't been put up on the backstops. Around the perimeter of the fence, there's just a little bit left that has to get done on the far west field. But all the seeding and the irrigation still is yet to get completed and then tie in the irrigation system. We're hoping to have that done by the end of July so that we can have everything fired up and then irrigate and get the grass growing. We know as weather allows right now, the temperatures are not necessarily favorable for us this week with the high temps, so that's kind of in our favor. But if we can get the cooler temps and get it seeded, hopefully we can have it ready by midsummer of 25. And again, there's just a quick summary of the financials and everything that we've spent year to date. We did have some change orders associated with that, and we have a small one here that we're going to consider just adding additional seating in some areas that weren't part of the overall playing field. It's a minor one of about $1,000, but total construction cost you kind of can see is around $700,000, and we had budgeted right around, a little glare on there, $848. So we're within the numbers. We just got a few things that need to get completed in this project, but definitely want to be done by the end of July. And then Dave Free did meet with all of the girls' fast pitch program, kind of get a timeline as to when they were going to take on the concrete for the dugouts, the shelters for the dugouts, and the batting cages. That wasn't part of our project. That was a project that they were going to take on. And so they were supposed to go down and mark the spots, 11.5 by 30 feet long dugouts, and then get all that set. We'd like to get the concrete poured before the irrigation and the seeding goes in, so we're not disrupting it twice. That's our goal, to have that done before that goes in. So they're aware of the timelines and the expectations. Hopefully we can meet them.
Okay. Youth baseball complex.
So youth baseball, when we had started originally a year ago to move forward with this project, we didn't want them to start until July 15th, just for some of the tournaments and things that we have going on down there. Meeting with the contractors last week with our pre-construction meeting. They're going to start on August 5th. All the materials and things have been ordered. Few materials got to get figured out in regards to deliveries and getting the submittals approved and signed off on by engineers. But overall, August 5th is the goal. You may start seeing equipment getting mobilized earlier down there. One of the things, as we know, 2 synthetic fields will be on the diamonds 9 and 10, and then 11 and 12 is just getting new chain link. But there is contingency dollars that we have in here that we're going to look at and we're going to bring back before the board, working with our civil engineer that's doing the project, about how we could get some type of master plan. I know Commissioner Scott, you touched on it earlier, how we can add some additional parking down there by bringing those fields in a little bit. We need to be able to figure out how we're going to do that. Right now it's grass, a little bit of gravel, so it becomes a little muddy. We want to take the McClellan property that we purchased a couple years ago and demo it. How could we tie that in? And then, of course, everything that we're doing between the youth complex all the way over to Ferris Field, how does that all tie in? And do we want to pave it? Do we want to do recycled asphalt? A lot of options are on the line. Obviously, funding is the key to kind of figure out how we can do that and phase that. But we're going to bring before you in August kind of an estimate or a scope to see what that would cost, to kind of give us some idea on costs. And we could do an improvement district where we would special assess the improvements to all those parking lots back to the park district. As we know, we're in the middle of a budget right now. But unfortunately, we do have a lot of high specials from the south side assessment that was done a few years ago, along with 16th Street and the parking lot for the tennis center. So we have to be cognizant of that too. Maybe we can phase it in a couple of years. But I think as we make these improvements down there, we need to connect all the parking down there and kind of dress that area up, especially with a new shop.
We had a master plan a few years ago. Is it still, I mean, we're still kind of in that same scope yet, right? I mean, it looks a lot like we had many options, but the one that we selected, I think it's pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we're following it to a T. Obviously, that we didn't do the synthetic turf that we wanted to at the girls' fast pitch area to the north there. We weren't able to fit that in the budget, but the parking lots are still there. We just didn't have the McClellan property at that time. So yeah, I think overall the master plan is being followed. We just need to maybe update and get some cost estimates on what we're anticipating.
Maybe if you would, Cole, bring that to our next meeting too, and just some commissioners maybe haven't seen that from originally. The original adopted one. So, okay. And then our last construction update, our boat ramp here in Mandan.
As I shared earlier, we did receive approval from the Corps that we do not need the 408 permit, which is a good win for us. That's a maintenance permit. So what we're doing is not going to impact anything on the sovereign lands. Basically, the 408 is what I call the water line of the sovereign's land. Everything below the Corps has control of. The sovereign lands is everything on top of it. We do need the 404 permit that has been submitted along with the sovereign's land permit. They kind of go hand in hand so that they work closely together. Sovereign land is more like state, and then you got the 404, which is the federal. And then from that standpoint, things are moving along really well. As you can see in the agenda doc, we're looking at advertising July 12th, 19th, and the 26th, and then a bid opening would be August 6th. And again, all of those bid opening dates are contingent on having all of our permits in place. We've had contractors reach out to us about this project. Late fall is a great project for some contractors who don't have a whole lot of work lined up. So we're optimistic on that. As I mentioned before, we're working with Game and Fish for the dock. Tim Nielsen from Morton County Parks recommended that they build a very nice dock. 75 to 25% match, so it's a great opportunity there for us to match. We've had some people reach out for other items in regards to donations or sponsorships, specifically a fish cleaning station. We're at a planning stage, I would say, for the fish cleaning station. We have a designated spot for it. The difficult part that we have is where the water source would be for it. Do we tap into the city water line, and now we have that expense along with a meter associated with that, and the maintenance of winterizing it every year. We understand that there's a need, but in the base bid, we did not include the fish cleaning station. We have all the parameters for where it'll be located. We talked about a well. We also talked about using the Missouri River as a water source, which is a different permit, and having a trench. So we didn't want to get into that level of permitting. We felt the goal was to get the boat ramp started, and then we could add on amenities. And those amenities include also, we know that there'll be 2 security lights for sure in there, and I know it was important from the public. The swing barrier gates to keep traffic out of there during the winter months, and then the bridge connecting the 2 north and south parcels was also there as an alternate. So we're able to move forward with the project, not knowing if we have all our permits in place. But again, we'll know more here in about 30 days.
Okay, any questions for Cole on any of the construction projects we have going on? Thank you, Cole, for the updates. All right, and our last item, authorization of the monthly bills, and we'll include the one that you received in an email today for painting contract in the amount of $15,400. We could get a motion to pay our bills.
I can make a motion to authorize payment of monthly bills, including the George Stewart painting, in the amount of $15,400.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Melhoff,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Mutter. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Before we adjourn, Cole did send out in your packet some green space recommendations. Cole and I will meet on that on Thursday morning. I guess if you haven't had a chance to look through that, it does affect us quite a bit and what the city is proposing and looking at. So please take a look at that. If you have any input on that, get that to Cole if you would before Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. And we're meeting with Andrew Strami. Is he able to make?
Yeah,
That one.
after you asked, so originally it was scheduled for noon, and then
Yeah.
President Meshke asked we could move it earlier. I reached out to Andrew, he said 8 a.m. works, so yes.
Okay. Okay, so if you give him some input or questions that you might have that we can ask Andrew about, So future meetings for Park Board Commissioners, again, July 11th, 2024. Admin portfolio, that's changed to 8 a.m. at the Park Administrative Building. July 29th, we'll do our 2025 budget retreat and a first reading of the budget. That'll be 4 o'clock at the Park Administration Building. And then our next regularly scheduled Park Board meeting will be August 12th, 2024 at 5:30 right here.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Melhoff to adjourn,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Freilich. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.